What's up, everyone? My name is Chris Marshall with my boy Frank G. We are the hosts of Build the Empire podcast. Frank G, tell the people what we do.
What's going on, everybody? Chris and I, we discuss established empires while showcasing us building ours.
Frank G, it's been a year-long journey. Last week,
Yes, sir.
We spoke a lot about crypto, NFT shit, real nerdy shit. I had responses where people were interested. However, it was unclear. So I figured, all right, let's get a cryptocurrency investor on the show. Let him talk. James Baldo, my man, good friend, colleague, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Hi, Chris. Hi, Frank. Super excited to be here. And I'm going to see if I can maybe answer some of your questions or give a little bit of detail with what's going on in crypto right now.
So to just put some context within the audience, me and James know each other going on 3 years. 3 years ago, he was already harping on Bitcoin and crypto. And I was like, James, shut up. Last couple of months, he's telling me pretty much what now. So I'm going to pass this to Frank because I'm sure he's got some questions right off the bat.
Well, I just want to say that, James, somehow I feel like I know you already, and this is the first time I'm actually seeing your face.
Wow. That's great to hear, Frank.
Yeah, man. Certainly taught Chris a lot, I guess, or spoke to Chris a lot, and he spoke to me about a lot of those things as well. I feel like
conversation
in many ways, man.
It's great to hear.
But to be honest, last week we spoke about crypto, and I'm excited to have you on because I feel like Chris may know a bit, but I know much less. So I mean, I don't even know exactly what NFTs are. So let's hear it.
All right, before we get into NFTs, we got to discuss crypto. All right, James, look, we have the stock market. We have Ankit come on once a month. We get into the stock market and we talk stocks, right? We talk investing. We talk how to make money on your money, which, by the way, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. James, the DeFi space is a whole nother market and economy. Please elaborate on what the hell DeFi even means.
Sure. So if we want to just zoom out, before we even get to DeFi, what we're talking about is blockchain technology and the ability to create decentralization and programs that run on decentralization. That's really, at the end of the day, what Bitcoin is. And when you get a little bit past Bitcoin, you might get into some other more complicated, well, depends on what the level of more complicated is, but different protocols, things like Ethereum or Polkadot or Cardano. And these systems allow us to build whole financial structures, amongst other things, in decentralized apps. So now we can have decentralized exchanges, just like the stock market. We can have decentralized lending, just like we do in traditional finance. And so what DeFi is basically just really replicating a lot of the traditional financial models that we have, but on decentralized blockchains.
Well, what's fascinating about it is that there is no government involved, which could be problematic, certainly down the line, because to have this conversation, I believe, is 1% of the community, right? It's a very educated conversation. And I don't think people even understand the technology of blockchain.
Yeah, it seems scary at first, but once you kind of break it down, it's kind of intuitive in a way. What I would maybe think about, those Russian dolls where you have a little doll inside of a little bit bigger of a doll and then it goes all the way up.
Aren't they like in eggs, right?
Yes, like it could be like those little egg things.
Yeah.
Blockchain is just a way of remembering information. And the way that it does it is it captures all the previous data into a new block. And then that block contains all of the data from the previous block, on and on and on and on.
So this is going to revolutionize pretty much every transaction and purchasing buying power moving forward, at least in the future. I mean, I know Europe currently you can use Bitcoin in transactional purchasing, but not now. Why did Bitcoin go up in price so much within the last year?
Great question. I think a lot of people are trying to answer it. What I would say is what we saw happen during the outbreak of COVID was maybe a little bit of a distrust or a little bit of a concern with our current way of storing value. So Bitcoin started as a way of maybe sending money to friends or whatever. but it's kind of evolved into more of a gold-like status now. We have seen what can happen to the economy, and people found that Bitcoin was a really secure place of value, a really, really secure place of value. And it's poised to become the next gold. It is digital gold.
So everybody should be investing in it, you're saying?
I don't give financial advice. I'm here for purely educated reasons, but for what I think, and I would expect everybody should have a small portion of their portfolio allocated to Bitcoin or crypto assets, but more specifically Bitcoin. Listen, gold is on its way out. I mean, gold's a huge market, great, but gold's important for a few reasons. One, it's portable. You can take that value with you anywhere in the world and it's accepted anywhere. Two, it's divisible. You can break it down into smaller units. And three, it's secure. 1 bar of gold today is going to be a bar of gold in 100 years. But Bitcoin is better in all three of those categories. Bitcoin, I can get on a plane and I can travel wherever, and it's literally on my phone or
on a USB drive.
Still. Yeah, it's more divisible. It can be split down even further, and it's even more secure because how can somebody even confiscate from you what is privately yours? So it is going to be the store of value for the future, and we're already seeing that.
A year and a half ago, when Bitcoin was trading at 3, 5, 7,000, and people thought that was expensive, and now it's trading at 50, 55, 57,000 currently on March 29th here. I mean, do we see more of a bull run coming?
I expect this run to go to 250, 200 to 250.
Wow.
In what time frame? Because experts say it could be anywhere from a year to 3.
Probably year end. And I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but one of the questions that you had before was, why is the price going up? I kind of laid out why people think it's interesting, but the reason why price is going up now is because people who are investing in it are no longer just me, you, Frank. It's Tesla, it's Square, it's MicroStrategy, it's hedge funds, it's family offices are finally getting in there, and they don't buy $1,000 or $5,000 or even $10,000 at a time. They buy 100,000, a million, 5 million at a time.
So for the listeners out there, we don't give financial advice, but realistically, the idea is if you put $1,000 in today, a year, hopefully you have 4,000. James, how do you buy Bitcoin? Because you can get it on Robinhood, but it's significantly different than how you own it.
Yeah, so that's a really good question regarding how you're going to own your coin. Once you decide that you want to buy or own Bitcoin, awesome. You've taken the first step in what can become a rabbit hole that I fell down 5 years ago. But more importantly, I would recommend staying
I'm falling right now.
I would recommend staying away from Robinhood because they don't allow you to own your keys. You want to buy Bitcoin on any place that allows you to own your own private keys. And what I mean by that is you own the actual cryptographic key to move that Bitcoin to other places. Robinhood, they give you the exposure, maybe something similar to like an ETF, but at the end of the day, you cannot take that Bitcoin off of Robinhood. So when we talk about it being gold, yeah, gold's important because it's a last resort, right? And if you can't even pull your last resort off of the people that are technically holding it for you, that's a problem.
That makes me want to rethink my whole investing in crypto because I only have Robinhood.
There's nothing wrong with doing it now, but for the long run, you know, definitely own your keys because the phrase that is passed around the Bitcoin community is not your keys, not your Bitcoin.
Some people lose their keys apparently, and then lose everything. I've heard stories of that.
Horror stories.
Millions. How long ago you have to invest in Bitcoin to have hundreds of millions?
Probably people that were in it like 2011, 2013. But yeah, I guess, you know, if Bitcoin's at 50,000 now, as long as you had a couple, it's crazy.
Well, this is why I'm interested in the NFT space, because I see the NFT space as 2012, 2013 Bitcoin currently. Now, what's interesting is the cryptocurrency is tied to NFTs, which stands for non-fungible tokens, which essentially is anything ownership digital, right? Now, in the crypto world, mainly people know Bitcoin. I'd say it's pretty prominent within the demographics all around the world. But there's thousands of other coins, correct?
Yeah, there's thousands and thousands of
Now,
coins.
what differentiates coins? What makes this coin more special than this coin? What makes this coin?
Yeah, it depends on what the coin is aiming to do. For instance, Bitcoin is sort of built to be this alternative or a substitute for gold. There are some coins that are literally trying to build the computer or the web of tomorrow. Those are things like Ethereum that allow you to not only just have a decentralized network, it allows you to build decentralized applications. And so that's where a lot of NFTs are coming from these days is Ethereum. And yeah.
Well, it seems like Ethereum is the actual currency in which people transact with. I've noticed it's not Bitcoin. If I go buy something, they want Ethereum. They don't want Bitcoin.
That means it should blow up faster, no?
It should. So the way to think about Bitcoin and Ethereum is if Bitcoin is gold, Ethereum should be gasoline, because you can build things. Yeah, you can build things on the Ethereum protocol, but in order for those programs to interact and execute, for me to send you an NFT on Ethereum, for you to even build or create an NFT, you need to spend ETH. You need to spend the gas to make the program work. So yes.
Now, as I've went down the rabbit hole the last few weeks, and mind you, I really don't have any interest in this. What I'm interested is investing my money to multiply by money. So that's where my interest gravitate towards. But my question to you is, talk about these fees, because one, people who buy these cryptocurrencies, sure, great, you buy them, but the fees are just unusually bizarre.
Yeah, so this is usually a problem of any young or new crypto project. Back in 2017, Bitcoin had really bad fees, but a lot of tech has been made since then to actually get that down significantly. But Ethereum is still very much in its early stages. And unfortunately, the community is growing faster than the actual protocol itself. So like I had said, if you need to spend gas in order for a transaction to happen, if this thing's not scaled yet and there's so many people trying to use it at the same time, you're going to have to use more gas than somebody else to get your NFT sent to a friend or even make a transaction happen. So right now, Ethereum is facing a gas situation. And it's expensive. And it's turning people to lead to maybe alternative protocols. But that's another topic itself.
James, what the hell made you so confident in this space years and years ago? I mean, what the normal person has in the stock market, I feel like you may have in the crypto world. You went pretty much all in, and I mean, you just were confident. Why?
It's technology. It's just tech. We have a stock market that's running on technology from the 70s. Trades settle in T+2. The whole GameStop thing happened because we have old plumbing. That's literally our financial system. ACH, wires, this is old plumbing. And a lot of the stuff that we're talking about now, while NFTs is just art now, a lot of that can be information technology being transferred and sold instantaneously, decentralized without any central figures. What got me interested, I guess, is in your question is, this is improving the way that we send value to each other globally in so many different ways. So that's why I think I paid attention.
And you're not worried that at scale it can become regulated, ultimately kind of fucking the revolutionary of
some regulation might be good, some regulation might be bad. Regulation's not in itself a good or bad thing. It's how regulations applied to systems that make it a good or bad thing. So we don't even know, because so many states and countries haven't really even passed firm regulatory frameworks yet. But some places have. Miami is actually looking to become the crypto capital of the United States and passing very lax and actually encouraging crypto laws to attract development and talent.
So you can now buy Tesla with Bitcoin.
I wouldn't do it just because I think that a Bitcoin in a year is going to be
inflate.
Tesla.
Well, that's why your coins.
That's why Elon's ahead of the game.
Yeah, he wants your coin. That's what he's thinking.
Well, yeah. What did he just bought? What did he do? 1.5 billion or something like that?
Yeah, I think you are right, and I think he bought it at like $1, cost average of
35.
like 35. Wow.
Yeah.
So the
roughly 35.
guy's made $1 billion on that.
And then I read an article though. Don't put that kind of money unless you got Elon Musk money. Don't put like a significant amount of money in.
Well,
Yeah, well, that's 1% for him, right?
Yeah. So that makes sense.
I mean, my portfolio, it seems I'm investing more and more in crypto and even riskier crypto at that. I'd say a good 15% of my investment is now in the crypto game.
Yeah.
5% in the last couple of weeks.
Say again.
Yeah. Did you increase 5% in the last couple of weeks since you got into that crypto group chat over there?
Shout out, James. James, I had to get you in the group chat, which we spoke about last week, just because I didn't understand the group chat. I do think this group chat is going to make me money. And just to paraphrase again, I don't necessarily follow the group chat for the crypto. I follow the group chat to try and network with.
He goes where the money goes.
I go where the money goes.
And James is the translator right now.
That's how I feel sometimes, Frank. Yes.
I mean, it's still, yeah, I could imagine. I mean, I need James to tell me more about this.
Well,
I think
James, I'll let you tell more about it. I guess what Frank needs to understand is, where do you buy it? Where do you get wallets? What are the different types of wallets, etc.?
Yeah, good questions. Like, what even is a wallet? That's even a good question too.
Yeah.
So a wallet is basically your wallet. It's where you hold crypto assets.
A digital wallet.
And a platform like Coinbase or Gemini or Kraken, those are 3 big exchanges, which are very reputable. Even Coinbase is having their IPO this year.
I was going to say, James, do you know when that IPO is going to drop?
It's actually, I think it's later this spring. They did file their S1 fairly recently.
See, I'll be investing in that IPO, which I don't typically like investing in IPOs. But again, this is a new space, and I want to put money in it more so than the coin. I want to put money in the platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of where to buy, I recommend those 3 top exchanges: Coinbase, Kraken, or Gemini, depending on where you are. In terms of holding your own coins, once you buy on those places, you can actually take your crypto off of those exchanges, and you can literally put it on a little drive and store it in a safe if you want to. You can let it sit on the exchanges. You can even deposit it to some companies called like BlockFi or Celsius, where you can earn interest on your Bitcoin and crypto holdings. So, if you're looking to gain 5-6% APR on your holdings, that's possible. You can't do that with United States dollar, can you?
No, but it's also very dangerous, because in the crypto world, it almost seems to be moving at a 5x speed versus the stock market. Why? Why is it so volatile? If it can go up and down 25% within a day.
Why is the crypto market so volatile?
Yes.
It's a new space, and I'll tell you, it's a lot, at least for Bitcoin, it's a lot less volatile than it was maybe 5 or 10 years ago. But as more money comes in and it gets more distributed, it's going to get less volatile. So that's where volatility comes in. But yes, I do expect that to slowly lower over time.
So that's specifically talking Bitcoin. James, how many coins do you own?
Oh no, I can't say that, because
different coins, not Bitcoin. I mean, how many different coins, like altcoins, you have? Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Azuki. How many of all? Like,
how many coins are you into?
Yeah, I'm not asking. Come on, James.
I would say my portfolio would be, I'm like 80% of Bitcoin, I'm 10% Ethereum, and then I'm 10% of a handful of different potential up and coming DeFi tokens, things like Aave and Uni and Sushi. And so, yeah, maybe like at any given time, maybe like 5 to 10 unique tokens.
In which you DYOR.
Yeah, that's the classic phrase in the crypto. You see that in every Discord channel or every Twitter thread you go on. Do your own research. None of this is financial advice, and always do your own
Frank
research.
Is like, I don't want DOR, I'm a Ferragamo guy.
Yeah. Do your own research. This is still really early. Listen, the internet was very clunky way back in the early 90s, but it got streamlined, it got easier to access. And now anytime you pick up your phone, you don't hear that damn sound like when you were logging on to AOL. No, it's just you have your phone and you're on the internet. So yeah, that's could be where we're going in the next 10, 15
So let's
years.
take this back, because I still don't think the people who truly listen, who are fans of the show, really understand. You download the app Coinbase, you create your profile, you link your bank account. You then can create your USD dollars into any coin you would like to buy, whether it's Bitcoin and Ethereum, correct?
That's pretty accurate.
Now, after that, there's almost another layer to it, where you then could install other wallets that host other smaller tokens, such as the ones we have, Azuki, and
Yeah.
I'm waiting for OMI. Why is that? Why do you have to get another application to get a wallet to get the token?
Yeah, so I think the thing is where is your interest in this? Do you like the idea of holding Bitcoin because you think it's a good hedge against inflation and it's a good store of value? Great, like you can buy it on Coinbase and maybe put it on like your own personal wallet and put it in a safe. If you're interested in exploring and investing different DeFi protocols, you're going to need maybe more sophisticated or newer wallets and newer applications, because that space is what's currently growing out right now, and it's still a little complicated. You might need to do a little bit more research than just the Bitcoin part.
But the complexity. I said that right.
Complexivity.
Yeah.
Complexity.
It would be complexity, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I'm right, James. You got to admit, my grammar sucks, but my communication's on point.
I always know what you're trying to say to me.
That's the point of language, as long as your thought is conveyed. But it's almost like the more complex it gets, the slight riskier it is, but it has the greatest payoff.
Higher risk equals higher reward. That's fundamental. That's the fundamental part of Bitcoin. And listen, I've made a tremendous amount of mistakes in this entire thing, and not just trading mistakes. Like I've sent coins to wallet addresses that shouldn't have been sent. I've had to find people to help me
which gets erased.
Yeah, you don't get your coins back. This is all very fragile, but at the end of the day, the fragility of it's also why it's so secure, because no one else can get your stuff if you're very careful about it.
I think that's what scares people and turns them off, is the minute you tell someone, if you mismanaged a password or an app, you lose all your money. I think that just turns people off.
I also don't think people are into like a digital form of money yet, at least the majority. I think that
definitely
scares people.
If Frank, say Apple came out with like a very intuitive, simple Bitcoin or Ethereum wallet, I think adoption would come on so much faster, because that's honestly for me one of the turnoffs right now with the entire community is we just have a lack of UI and UX to really make this stuff accessible. I mean, terminology be what it is, but it's so easy to make mistakes using some of these things that you gotta really be careful when you're playing around with these things.
But that is why anyone who is actually educated within this space and having conversations around this space, I believe, to multiply your money is just going to be simple.
Yes, and even if you're a smart person who's looking to design cool things and do really new stuff, this community is ripe with opportunity. Anything, whether it's finance, whether it's art, whether it's, I don't know, like social networks with this whole BitClout thing going on right now, this whole space is got opportunity for not only just investing, but like putting your work to something different and new.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be now a job force and employment that comes out of this space, of course.
I would think so.
Are you gonna look for employment in that?
I don't know.
In the crypto world?
Who knows? This is a very, very strange job market out there. But I mean, I would be amiss if I didn't get to work with Chris every day.
Well, James, I'm always here for you, pal. You know that.
I know that.
I'm one phone call away. James, right behind you, obviously it's an audio platform, it's a podcast, but behind you, I'm seeing you visually. You have Anchovy and Matilda. Could you explain who who that is.
They are brother and sister cats, ragdoll cats. Matilda is 14 pounds. Anchovy is 12 pounds. Ragdolls are called ragdolls because when you pick them up, they go completely limp. And they are just giant puppy cats.
Is that?
He's a pretty big cat.
That's a big. Frank, he or she, I don't know which one he's holding. Bigger than Shadow.
Yeah, I see that. Shadow's
Yeah,
intimidated walking into this room.
No, Shadow's never intimidated, but that cat may beat shit out of Shadow.
Yeah, he'd be too stupid to realize it.
Mushy Guy's the reason why I got Shadow. He was like, just do it. He's like, you just have to do it.
You gotta get the dog.
Did you create an investment cryptocurrency account for your cats at all? Do they have tokens?
They have they're on my inheritance. They're all the Bitcoin goes to them if I pass.
I know they have an Instagram page.
They do have an Instagram page at Anchovy and Matilda. If anybody wants to check the cats out. And that's just the letter N,
his cats.
Not the word end. But yes.
James, so this group chat that I'm in, which I don't think you pay attention to because it seems like it's actually funny when you enter the space and you see who's in the space. It seems like everyone has their own segmented groups in which they exchange ideas, research, and just talk to. This current group is very bullish on a crypto called OMI, which seems to be connected to the NFTs. It's almost like the crypto of NFTs. News were just released that in April, OMI, which is Ecomi, the company, correct?
It is.
They, I believe, from what I read, are going to now have ownership of Pokemon, digital assets of Pokemon. So this is
I did not know that.
This is, well, they already have the royalties of Marvel and the NFL. It's incredible. And right now, this token is, I believe, a penny. It's a penny to buy.
I did not know that about their Pokemon affiliation.
Yeah, this is why NFTs and why I believe this token is really going to blow up. But I mean, to me, to understand and fathom how 1 penny could become $2, $5, $10, I just can't explain it. I don't know if you could. I don't know if you could elaborate. It just seems difficult.
Well, you would have to look at valuation. How do you evaluate a token? How do you evaluate a protocol? And what the crypto space, how we look at something, instead of outstanding shares of stock, we have outstanding tokens. Now, let's use Bitcoin as an example. If we know that gold is a $10 trillion market cap, and there's 21 million Bitcoins, and we expect Bitcoin to take over the gold market. If you divide that out, 21 million to replace a $10 million market cap, we're going to get to something around maybe 400,000 per coin. So if you apply that same logic, what is the NFT space worth? What is the current collector, art, music, what is that space worth overall? And then if we apply the protocol, whatever the main dominant one might be, or many, with how many tokens are outstanding, then we might be able to value what these things might cost. Does that maybe
I was just going to say, ladies and gentlemen, for you to follow that, and if you understand it, there is no doubt in my mind you are going to grow up to be rich if you understood that language. James, I understood that language, and I knew you were going to pretty much use that language, which is why I'm thankful here.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing as valuing stocks. If you just take the amount of stocks with what we expect the industry to be valued at, do the division, you might come up with a number.
But James, I just recently realized that these companies or whoever created these coins can burn coins. So if you transact, they pretty much eliminate X amount of coins. Is that something to be afraid of in the future?
Well, just like a stock that can have stock repurchase agreements, or, we can issue more shares, the same thing could be done with tokens. So you just got to know what you're investing in, and can it change? Can they issue more tokens? Are they holding more tokens that they haven't released to the public yet? Are they going to burn tokens, which is really cool because that creates sort of a deflationary situation where there's less supply, but the demand maybe even remains the same. Those are all good questions.
And I hope the audience realized what James did earlier. He used logic and math by equating Bitcoin to gold, and then was able to come up with an ending price point from Bitcoin, which I believe was around 400K, you said.
I mean, we can only hope it gets to that. But yes, to your example, that's exactly how you.
That's your analyzation.
Yes. I think just like any other market, you want to figure out what you think it's going to be worth. Is it undervalued? And if so, how do you value it?
Is it undervalued in your opinion right now? Clearly, we know the
Bitcoin?
answer. Yes, we know the answer. How undervalued?
Well, gold is actually a $13 trillion market cap, but I don't know how
gold
high.
Has been rising in price, though.
I mean, what? A couple like bucks?
He laughed at you.
he did.
He goes, "You nerd."
No. I mean, gold's been going up, but so all reserve assets have seen a little bit of an increase in speculation and interest because of what we saw with the economy this last year. At the end of the day, Bitcoin is a way of hedging against inflation.
Explain that. Yeah. You explained this to me once before, and I thought it was amazing. You used college and housing as an example, where yes, you know what I'm talking about. Go on.
So yeah, Bitcoin is still relatively new, but it's not that new. It's 11 years old, right? And if I was to hold US dollars since 2010, and I was to just hope that my 2%, not even like 1%, if I was even in a high yield savings account, would just grow that cash year over year for 10 years. It's only gotten more expensive for me to buy a house holding cash year over year, given that the real estate market is growing at a 12% rate year over year, or even go to graduate school or send my kid to college. It's only gotten more expensive.
And your money in a saving account or CD is not, it's not giving you enough to deal with it.
No. Meanwhile, if I was holding Bitcoin year over year for the last 10 years at a 200% year-over-year growth, the last 10 years, it's only gotten cheaper for me to buy a house. It's only gotten cheaper for me to go back to get a graduate degree. It's only gotten cheaper for me to send my kid one day to college. Maybe the dollar is a little bit more risky of an asset. And I know that sounds crazy, but this thing's been going for 11 years now, and my dollar's getting worth
weaker.
Yes.
It's getting weaker.
Even think about from a hiring perspective. Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy put maybe about $1.5 billion to Bitcoin on his balance sheet because he said, listen, cash, the US dollar might be inflating at 2% a year, but my developer and programmers, their wages are growing at 12%, 15% per year. I need to keep up with the appreciation of their salaries, and I can't do that with the dollar. I need to find a better investment.
Well, that makes me think, how long has the dollar been around? And then how long, I wonder if when the dollar first was invented, did people trust it? So like crypto.
Well, James is a historian. James, when was the dollar invented? I mean, I know Alexander Hamilton created the e-commerce banking system.
It's a very good question, Frank. So the dollar became sort of.
We're just going to ignore my historic fact.
Or you want a pat on the shoulder?
He's also on the $10 bill for those of you who don't know.
Very great. The dollar became the world's reserve currency right after World War II at a conference called Bretton Woods, where the world basically signed over everyone to the dollar. And long story short, before that, there were other reserve currencies. The British pound was a reserve currency.
Your cats behind you are
It's awesome. Like a show. Yeah, I told not to look at them. I'm trying to listen to this, when the dollar was invented.
James is coming with straight facts. Like, I don't even know how he knows it. And then I just see pussy all up in his screen.
Yeah, well, you guys can post photos of this so people can see, because honestly, they're
it's actually
with
a great
each
photo.
Other at the perfect spot.
This would be a great photo. I don't think there's a screenshot button yet.
Are you guys filming it?
Yeah, we're filming all this. That's why it's not many
Guys.
people watch the YouTube. We use the video more as an archive, and then we blast out the audio. But like they're like holding,
They're like
they're
patting
so
they're
cute.
patting their like faces. Brother and sister love right there.
James, it seems like these are your kids. Who do you like more, Anchovy or Matilda?
Lately, Anchovy's really
It
been giving me
changes.
some shit, and Matilda's been.
I didn't know
really
it changed.
Anchovies had been very needy as a teenage kitten.
Oh man.
How
old are they now?
They'll be 2 years in April, and so that they're still like in their growing phase, but they'll be like around 15, 16 years. Anchovy hopefully less if he keeps acting like
you
this.
could put him on a leash and we'll go for a walk.
Yeah, ask
or
Chris.
use a
He's got a
stroller.
baby some
carriage.
photos
Or
of that.
use a stroller.
He's got a baby carriage.
To wind it back to what I think Frankie brought up a really great point, and that's what I just want to land on, is that reserve currencies don't last forever. It's really easy to think that this United States dollar is always going to be this great thing, but that literally is not the case historically for the last like 1,000 years. We've had multiple reserve currencies value. You know why it's called a British pound? Because it was pegged to a silver pound. And now it's not even worth 0.0001 silver, the British pound. So that could be the United States.
That certainly
dollar
would be
one day.
crazy to see in our lifetime, though.
I think it's possible.
Mass change of currency like that.
I think we're on the verge of it within the decade. James, what do you think?
I think that we'll always still use the US dollar, but I think that we will have Bitcoin as a source of global financial security.
James, you've came on and gave us a ridiculous amount of knowledge to process.
Yeah, people are gonna have to watch this show a couple times.
I mean, I don't know, Frank. On the scale of 1 to 10, are you lost?
I mean, there's terminology for sure that is lost, but I certainly can go on an app and buy crypto and maybe have something instead of Robinhood.
The terminology is hilarious. They use terms like deer and gas and staking. Like, yo, I got a coin, I just staked it. You're like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we do have less than a minute though. I think like 30 seconds or so. Do you have one last thing you want to maybe tell anyone?
James, give us an ending point. I think that this is a really fascinating